Hello and welcome friends. In Unit 3 we have been discussing the steps in the advertising process, and you would recall that we have completed the discussion on the first three steps and we were in the middle of discussion on the media types. So we'll continue that discussion today. So if you recall, this was the discussion that we have had in the last session. And now in the today's session we'll be discussing the remaining prominent media types. Fine. So you can see here that the remaining media types which are there on your screen, internet, outdoor and transit media and so on and so forth, we'll be discussing them today. So let us first move on to internet. Now internet is one prominent media type that has emerged in the last few years, in fact last few decades. And what are the advantages of internet? Number one, high selectivity. What do we mean by this? And what do we first of all mean by internet? Basically internet means when you are making use of internet to show ads to your target audience. So you are running your promotional campaign on a website, or maybe when a particular customer types something in one of the search engines. So probably what will happen is that your ad will be shown to him. So for example, if let's say you are trying to look for the best quality of mobile phone available below rupees 10,000. So you will type this in the search engine. It could be the Google search engine or some other search engine. And then based on the search query typed by you, the ads would be shown to you. So Google would probably show you the ad of a particular brand of mobile phone, and that particular brand of mobile phone has paid Google to show its ads. So this way you can make use of internet. Then of course when you are using Facebook, again you see some ads which are shown to you. That basically happens because Facebook has used complex algorithms to understand your browsing habits and to prepare a personality profile of you as a Facebook user, and based on that information they are selling the ad space to the various marketers. So this is how you basically make use of internet. So this is what we mean by internet as a media type. So showing your ad through some website or some search engines, this is what we are prominently referring to when we are talking about internet as media type. Now what are the advantages? High selectivity. For example, if you compare your Facebook page with the Facebook page of some other student in your class, you would find that different ads would be shown to you, and the ads shown to your classmates are very different. And why this is happening? Because the ads which are being shown to you, they are being shown after preparing your customer profile based on your browsing habits and based on your browsing history and based on the various likes and dislikes that you make use of while using Facebook. So based on that, your personality profile, your customer profile has been prepared. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, for example, if I am, let's say, a coaching institute and I want to only show my ad to students in the age group of 18 to 20 who are looking for a good coaching institute so that they can prepare for CAT. So I can be selective. What will I do? I can buy ad space in Facebook, and Facebook will give me an ad space. Facebook will show my ad only on those Facebook pages, or only on the Facebook pages of those users who are in this similar age group 18 to 21 and who have earlier displayed through their browsing history that they are interested in joining some coaching institute. So in that sense I can be very, very selective, right? Again, for example, if I want to advertise my department of business administration among schoolgoers, 12th standard students in Pithoragarh, again not only in Facebook but also in Instagram, I have this particular feature. So wherein I'll buy ad space and I can fix the geographical scope the area wherein I want to show my ads, the area wherein I want people in the age group of 18 to 20 or people who are going to schools and study in class 12, they can be shown, they can be exposed to my ad. So this is what we mean by selectivity, high level of selectivity, which is possible with internet. Again, it is very, very interactive. What do we mean by this? The exact ad that can be shown to your Facebook user, or the exact ad that is coming up when somebody is looking for a particular search query, when somebody is looking for a particular word or a particular phrase in the search engine, that ad that I am showing to him can be made interactive. Have you ever seen the website by Lenskart? In Lenskart, you can do what? You can upload your photograph, and based on that, you can virtually try the different frames that are available there, and you can then decide which one to pick, which one to buy. Likewise, in many online websites which are selling apparel products, shirts and all that stuff, therein also you have to upload your body profile, and accordingly they will virtually show you dressed up in that particular item which you have selected, so that you can get a feel of how you would look like once you have put on that particular shirt or put on that particular skirt. So that is what we mean by being interactive. So internet comes with the advantage of being very, very interactive, and then you can send personalized communication. The communication is personalized in the sense that you can tune your communication message to the needs and requirements of the target audience. Again, the cost per exposure is low, so you don't have to spend too much. If you compare it with television advertising, you would have to spend much less when you go for advertising on Facebook. I'll give you on Facebook, or for example other social networking sites, or advertising through search engines. So I'll give you an example. If you use Facebook, in around 75 to 80 rupees, you can get 100 to 120 exposures in a particular day. So it's relatively very, very cheap. Plus these exposures would be more targeted. These ads would not be shown to every single individual, every Tom, Dick and Harry, but they would only be shown to people who are more likely to buy your product. Like I said, if I am running a coaching institute and I have made use of the Facebook ad space, they will be telecasting my ad. They will be showing my ad only to those users of Facebook who are more likely to come and apply for admissions to my coaching institutes. So they would probably not be showing this ad to somebody who's also working, because naturally that person would not want to join a coaching institute. They would only be showing these ads to people who are more likely to buy my service, to buy my product. And this they do because they have access to very, very intelligent software algorithms through which they can prepare the customer profile. They can even make predictions about which particular product this particular Facebook user is going to use. Now there is a disclaimer also while I am talking and again referring to Facebook, but this applies to other social networking sites also, and this applies to search engines. So when you type a particular search query in the search engine, you would again see some ads. So it applies to that kind of promotion also, that kind of advertising also. Now what are the limitations? Limitations is low penetration. In India, not many people, still not even 50% of our population is able to access internet, and regular users are even fewer in number. So naturally you would not be able to reach the rural hinterland. Supposing you want to come up with a product, you have come up with a product which is meant for low income group in rural areas. Naturally internet is not going to be a good choice for you, because these people would not have access to internet, right? Now let us talk about the outdoor and the transit media. Now what do we mean by the outdoor media? The banners that you see on the roadside, the hoardings that you see. Many times you see some posters being put up on the roadside. So they are all examples of outdoor media. And then we've got the transit media. Transit media, I have explained it earlier also. It is that media which keeps on moving, and that is why it is known as transit media. Have a look at this particular example. So this auto is there, and you are showing your ad on this particular auto. So you have made use of this space available on the auto to create awareness about your services OLX. Likewise, you can do with metro trains also, you can do with the road transport corporation buses also. So this is basically an example of transit media. Now, what are the advantages with the outdoor and transit media? Flexibility. Have a look at the different types of electronic hoardings that you see here. They are all of different sizes, even shapes are different. Have a look at the Coca-Cola hoarding, then have a look at this particular hoarding, then the Hyundai hoarding. You see the shape is different, size is different, color is different, and that is what we mean by flexibility, right? Again, there would be a lot of high repeat exposure. Why is this the case? Because whenever, let's say, a hoarding has been put up on the roadside, there are many people who would traverse that road on a daily basis. They would be going to their offices, or they would be going to their schools, and they would be passing through that road. So they would be passing through that road on a regular basis, on a daily basis, every single day. So there would be a high amount of repeat exposure, which would help you to occupy a more strong position in the mind of your audience. The audience would find it difficult to ignore you because they are getting exposed to your advertising message on a regular basis, repeatedly. So it is going to be difficult for them to ignore you, and they would be able to better retain your message. So this is another advantage with the outdoor and transit media. Then the cost is low. As I said, the cost is going to be much lower than what could be the cost if you go for broadcast advertisements, and if you go for booking an ad space on televisions or newspapers, the cost is going to be much less. And that is why you see so many hoardings all around. Whenever you are passing through various streets, the main roads, you find so many hoardings all around, because that probably is a very cheap option for the marketers, and the competition is also less. So whenever you are putting up a hoarding somewhere, there are less chances that some rival of yours would also put up his hoarding there. So the competition would be much less, and since you are getting repeat exposure, it is highly likely that the audience would retain the message in his mind, right? So these are the advantages. But then what are the disadvantages? Limited audience selectivity. If you put up a hoarding somewhere, anybody and everybody can see that particular hoarding. I cannot target that message to selected group of people. So for example, if I want to target only those who are going to offices on a regular basis, I cannot do that, because children are also passing through that particular road. They are also having a look at that particular ad. They are also having a look at that particular banner or that particular hoarding. So it is going to be difficult for me to be selective in terms of who all see my advertising message. So for example, if I'm coming up with an ad for, let's say, Lux, and I only want female audience to see this particular ad, I cannot do this with outdoor and transit media. This ad can be seen by anybody. Likewise, here also, this ad would be seen by anybody. So I cannot be selective in that sense. And again, there are creative limitations. In fact, the correct word is basically creativity limitations. What do we mean by this? This basically means that you cannot be too creative as far as the outdoor and the transit media are concerned. Again, you can only make use of the visual aspect, while in case of television you can make use of audio and visual both. So that is one issue. And then you can be too creative. I mean, there is a limitation of size. There is a limitation of wherein you can put your hoarding. You cannot be too creative. So that is one problem with the outdoor and the transit media. Then let's have a look at the brochures and the newsletters. What would be the advantage of brochures and newsletters? Many a times, for example, if somebody has to sell books, some publisher wants to sell its books to Government Degree College, Pithoragarh Library, what do? They come up with brochures, and then they send across these brochures to the libraries, and wherein there is a list of all the titles that this particular publisher has, and then the library has the option to select a few titles and order those titles from the publisher. So this is what brochure is all about. Many a times, many education institutions, many management institutions also make use of brochures. They prepare a brochure which includes the details of all their students, and then they send across these brochures to various companies and with the aim of getting these companies to the campus for campus recruitment. So these are examples of brochures. Then we have got newsletters also. Newsletter is basically, you can say, a brief kind of a magazine which has limited number of pages, and it talks about the recent developments in a particular firm. So that is what a newsletter is. For example, Maruti Suzuki, they have their own newsletter which is probably coming out on a fortnightly basis, and it talks about the recent developments, what all new products have been launched by Maruti Suzuki, and what have been the performance ratings in the last 1 month or 3 months or something of that sort. So these things are basically included as part of the newsletter, right? So these are brochures and newsletters. Again, you can be very, very selective. As I said, for example, these companies which come up with brochures, these companies which come up with newsletters, they can be very, very selective. They can send their newsletters and brochures only to specific people. They don't need to send it to anybody and everybody. So they would only be sending to specific people. For example, if let's say a company has come up with a new range of televisions and it wants to sell those televisions, it has the option of selling these televisions through a dealer. And what will they basically do? They will be sending across their brochures to limited number of dealers and limited number of end customers. So this is what we mean by selectivity. And then there is a lot of flexibility. It is your call how you design your brochure, how creative you want to be in your brochure. And in newsletters, you can be very, very creative. You can use whatever color you want, you can use whatever kind of illustrations you want to make use of. And then there is full control. If you compare it with print ad or television ad, you do not have full control. If you remember, when you go for a print ad and you contact some newspaper so that you can get your ad placed in the newspaper's front page, you simply do not have full control. The reproduction quality may be bad because of poor quality of paper being used by the newspaper, right? On the other hand, brochures and newsletters are your own. They actually are a tool to communicate about your company to the end customer, to the larger public. So you can design your newsletter in whatever creative way you want. Likewise for brochures, whatever creativity you want to bring in, you can bring in, and you have full control. You can delay the release of the newsletter, you can delay the publication of the newsletter or the brochures. So in that sense, you have got full control. So that is an advantage. However, if you overproduce, if you produce more than what you actually require, if you have if you have got, let's say, 2 lakh copies of your brochures and newsletters printed, but then you are only able to place these brochures and newsletters in front of only 50,000 people. So in that sense, overproduction would lead to costs. So you will basically be losing money because 1,50,000 copies are actually not being sent across to the intended audience. So that is going to be a cost for you. Let's talk about Yellow Pages now. Now, have you read this kind of a magazine which is brought out by Amar Ujala? Now, this is an example of Yellow Page. Yellow Page basically will have information about different businesses which are operating in a particular local area, in a particular city. So it will have information about all those businesses along with the phone number and the other contact details. So this is what Yellow Pages are all about. Many a times Amar Ujala comes up with Yellow Page. So that Yellow Page will have information about all the businesses that are operating in the area, all the public service organizations, for example, the fire department, the police. So they will have all the phone numbers, contact addresses of all these entities. What basically they do is they will be charging these entities for this, and then they will be selling these Yellow Pages to you, or maybe providing it to you as supplement to the normal newspaper. And wherever you want to look for a particular product or service or a particular government organization, you can refer to these Yellow Pages and you'll be able to find out the contact details, right? So this is what a Yellow Page is all about. So what are the advantages? As I said, local coverage. It only has information about the business which are operating in the local area. So local coverage, then the reach is wide enough. A lot of people read Yellow Pages. People tend to keep Yellow Pages. People tend to keep these Yellow Pages safe with them because it contains all the information of all the business operating in the area. And So it's a good tool to have at hand whenever you require these kind of contact informations, be it the phone numbers, be it email IDs, right? Then again the cost is going to be low, because if you want to advertise many a times rupees 500 to 1000, you will get a this size ad, half of A4 sheet. So the cost is also going to be low. On the other hand, there is a lot of competition. Why? Because in the same newsletter, not only your products are getting advertised, not only your services getting listed, but these similar services are also getting listed. So for example, if you are a furniture seller, the yellow page would not list only you and your contact information, but it would be listing all the furniture sellers in the area. So in that sense, there is a lot of competition. Again, there would be a high lead time. Naturally, just like in the case of print advertisements or broadcast advertisements, the lead time would be higher, which means you have to look for those newspapers which are bringing yellow pages, and then you have to book some ad space. And the day when you book some ad space, and the day when you actually see that particular yellow page getting published and getting circulated among the newspaper subscribers, that is going to be a long time duration. So that is what we mean by high lead time. If you compare it with newspaper, the lead time is just one day. On the other hand, if you compare it with the broadcast media, television, many a times lead times can be 15 days, 20 days, even 1 month, 2 months, and even beyond that. Again, there are creative limitations here as well. You cannot be too creative, but as far as the brochures and newsletters, they are your own production, you can be creative. Let's talk about advertorials. I have given you a brief idea about what advertorials are. Advertorials basically is advertisements plus editorials. Now what do we mean by this? Advertisements which look like a news item and they appear in newspaper, they are known as advertorials. Is that making sense? So you will see an advertorial on a newspaper, and in the first instance it would look to you as though this is basically just a news item, and because you perceive this advertisement, misperceive this advertisement as a news item, you tend to have greater faith in whatever has been mentioned there in that particular advertorial, and that is the value of an advertorial. The credibility level is high. Many a times the audience does not read the fine print. They don't come to understand that, okay, this is not a news item, this is an advertorial. So they tend to have greater faith in whatever has been mentioned in the advertorial. Right? Again, it also catches the audience attention. So many a times you yourself are probably in the habit of skipping all the ads that appear in the newspaper, and you probably only look at the news items. So this is something that you tend to learn automatically. So this comes with a lot of experience with the newspaper. So you have been reading newspapers for, let's say, 1 year. Now you'll automatically ignore the ads which are appearing there, because you are not interested in ads, but you are interested in the news items, and you would be only focusing on the news items. However, if the marketer uses advertorial, this is simply not possible for the audience to do, because they would assume the advertorial to be a news item and they would have to pay attention, right? So in that sense, advertorial also helps catch audience attention. However, there are regulatory restrictions. For example, in India, one regulatory restriction is, if you are coming up with an advertorial, you have to mention it somewhere in the editorial. It could be at the topmost part, it could be at the bottom part. You have to mention it somewhere as to this particular content is basically an advertorial, right? So this has to be mentioned, and this has been done so that the readers, so that the audience don't get confused and they are not fooled by the marketers. So this is one regulatory requirement which is there. You have to declare an advertorial to be an advertorial. You simply cannot publish an advertorial without specifically mentioning that it is an advertorial, right? So you have to mention that this is just an editorial. This is what you have to mention, right? So this is one regulatory restriction that you'll have to face if you are using advertorials as a media type. Then let us talk about infomercials. I have talked about this also. These are TV shows. They could be 25-30 minutes long, and they would be basically featuring certain products, and they would be talking in significant detail about these products. They would probably also be making comparison with other rival products. So these are infomercials. Asian Sky Shop uses infomercials to sell its products, and you might have seen its infomercials appearing in GTV and G Cinema. So this is an example of an infomercial. These are TV shows basically meant to promote a particular product. And please understand that they will also have a high level of credibility. People will tend to have greater faith. Why? Because people generally tend to ignore the claims made in an advertisement. But for them, infomercial is a very different format. So for them, this is almost like watching a particular episode, and they don't perceive it to be some kind of a advertisement, and that is why they tend to have greater faith in the claims made in the infomercials. Again, you have greater control. Why? If you compare it with the broadcast ad, when you are preparing a broadcast ad, it cannot be beyond 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and there are certain things that you will have to take care of. If you are coming up with a print ad, you can at most have a A4 or A3 sheet or a one full page advertisement. But here, as far as infomercials are concerned, you have greater control. You can use whatever format you want to use. There is no time boundation. You can have an information running for 15 minutes, 20 minutes also. So in that sense, you have greater control when you are using infomercial as media type. And again, you can describe the product features and attributes in greater detail in your infomercials. On the other hand, what is the limitation of infomercial? Audience wear out. This you must have felt on your own. When you watch these infomercials, after a while you tend to ignore them because you get bored of those those infomercials. So you tend to ignore them. And this is one issue with the infomercials. People tend to ignore, and so the impact is not that strong when infomercials are being used as media type. So friends, this concludes our discussion for today. In the next session that we will have, we'll be talking about media vehicle, and the decision about media vehicle would flow basically from media type. So thank you very much for your time.